I mean this in the most sincerest way possible. Not playing Kingdom Come Deliverance on hardcore mode is a serious sin. Why, you ask? Because it's filled with death. What the hell? Oh my god, that's like 10 peasants. But even dogs? Peasants, 10 peasants plus dogs? It's sometimes filled with agonizing confusion. Okay, now I am ridiculously lost. This doesn't sound too good, does it? Well, let me tell you how I grew to like it. And now, strangely enough, I prefer hardcore mode, I think. Just how fast was his reaction time? Does he have ultra instinct or something? Anyways, recently on normal mode, I completed mostly all the side quests, maxed out my level, got the best weapons and the best armor. The game just got way too easy. Ooh, 3. Dang! Oh my goodness. Oh. Henry's name was so known throughout Bohemia, his nin had grown too strong. Come back. Did you know you can save 15% or more with Geico's car insurance? You see, I needed a new challenge. With roughly 450 hours played, I was confident enough to play the hardcore mode. And just like that, I was no longer confident. Already died? Whoa! I'll just begin a new life, I guess. This was when I knew things were kind of serious. I mean, Dark Souls at least lets you walk before you meet the inevitable. The game gives you 9 disabilities as perks. You have to choose at least 2 of them. Now, I'm going to break them down later, but me being the mastercist that I am, or just the fact that I can hear David Goggins in my head calling me a weakling for being too comfortable, I chose all 9. The first thing you may notice, huh? Have anybody seen it? Oh my god, the hub is gone. This is really bad. Take a deep breath. Calm down. No need to panic. Luckily, you can gauge how close you are to death based on how much blood is on your screen. Or just pause the game to look at your character menu. Stamina is also pretty self-explanatory. Blue screen equals slow down. But this next thing in hardcore mode, I gotta put on the serious music. It can literally make or break the strongest soldiers. It's something that overclocks your brain. No matter how hard you run away from it,
destiny arrives all the same.
And that is the constant frustration of the feeling of confusion. Okay, first off, you cannot see yourself on a map. Make sure you stick to the roads as much as possible. I'm gonna say this with more emphasis for your safety. Stick to the roads as much as possible, because getting lost in a forest is a fate I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. You may be thinking, well, I could just bail myself out with fast travel. Yeah, no, about that. That's not in hardcore mode. In order to know really where you are going, you have to be really relieved to see dead people. Another dead body. Okay, so, yep, I'm pretty close. Yes, as twisted as this may sound, this can actually help navigate you whatever you are lost at. But wait, there are also many other ways to track yourself, such as interesting sights, shrines, graves, flower gardens, hell, and even nests. But this begs the question, why did I use dead people for my first example? I genuinely don't know why. But what I really grew to love is the sense of being lost, because then I took the time to learn the buildings for reference points. For example, we all know where this place is at, based off this building. Another example, if I'm starting from Rattay and I have to go to Sasau, sorry if I butchered that, there's a particular route that I always take. Go near the Rattay mill, purposely hit your head on the tree. Why? Because, I don't know, this is how I found this route, so I always do it. Get back on your horse and follow this road. Take a left and cross the boardwalks, then take a left again and just continue straight. Now at a certain point, I go off the road and then I find the woodcutters camp. This signifies I am on track. Now from here, there is 2 possible ways I can get to
Sasau.
But according to my calculations, this way is just faster than the other. From then on, I just continue straight ahead, and once I spot a crossing to the other side, I just cross it. Then I go straight through the forest and spot an interesting sight where it looks like someone was camping at it. So I go up to it because I have to go around the dam. But now here comes the hard part that only a handful of elite players can do. To even pass this step, you don't understand the literal pain I had to endure. I had to climb mountains with stones on my back. Nah, I'm just playing. All you have to do is scale up the hill and slowly down the hill, but be a little bit more careful if you have the brittle bones debuff perk. Now you're going to continue along the path, which this then leads you to finding places with your own natural means is 10 times relieving. But there's only one place I will never go back to, and this place, trust me, it's absolutely hell. Go there once, and after then, treat it like caution tape. Now it's time to talk about what you've probably been waiting for, and it's combat, which actually really isn't too hard. The only difference is you no longer see the arrows, and also it means you don't really see the green thing the time your master strikes. Now, I recommend training with Bernard to get adjusted to timing your master strikes. The key to timing it right is to look for when he goes into motion to attack, then hit it quick. Oh, got him again. You have really truly mastered the art when you get Bernard to say, fuck. But anyways, combat on hardcore requires you to be just a bit more prepared. And what I mean by that, make sure your gear is repaired. Also, make sure you have bank too, cause damn, it's way more expensive. Taking on more than 3 opponents is still doable, even without potions. I recommend using a mace because it's just useful for every situation, especially plated enemies. But I will say, compared to normal mode, you can somewhat feel the difficulty increase, but not to an insane upscale. Guys, it's finally time. I am so excited for this next topic. I can't contain myself. Now, remember when I said I was going to talk about the 9 negative perks? Well, now is the time. Let's start off with brittle bones. Ever since you were little, stairs and ladders are your worst enemy. You take significantly more fall damage compared to normal mode. This isn't really super bad though, because all you have to do is, well, you know, be careful. The next debuff kind of sort of alters your gameplay. See, when Henry was a child, he got his head stuck into a bucket and he couldn't get out of it all day until his father took an axe to cut it off. Ever since that day, you have had a fear of enclosed spaces. Now, I am sure you guys may know this is called claustrophobia. And this debuff, this makes it so when you wear a helmet with a visor, you do significantly less damage. For this reason, ironically, I wear bucket helmets because it doesn't count as a visor, which also provides decent protection. All you have to do is be a bit more on guard from hits from above. Onwards to the next debuff. You once caught a nasty chill and ended up with a persistent cough. Nobody really thought that you will survive. But then you realize the freaking Demon Slayer finale comes out tomorrow. You will be an absolute buffoon to die this early. Anyways, this debuff is called consumption, and it just makes your stamina regen more slowly. To be honest, I couldn't tell the difference between normal mode and hard mode. Even with this debuff, I looked on the wiki and it says once your vitality gets a decent level, it stops being noticeable, like your father and his father before him. You are affected with a family curse. What is this dreaded curse, you ask? Well, the smallest cuts causes you to bleed a lot, which also makes it harder to stop the bleeding. This debuff is called hemophilia. I think I pronounced that right. And honestly, you hardly notice this in the game. But once you get high tier gear, honestly, this debuff is just non-existent. Ever since childhood, you have been troubled with a very frightening nightmare. And it's the same thing every time, over and over again. It hurts your head every time you wake up. And it's you being chased by a colorful jester. And still to this day, it scares you. This debuff is called Nightmare. It causes all your stats to be lowered for a while. This is really very easy to get rid of though. Just simply skip 2 hours once you wake up from bed and then poof, it's gone. Now this next perk is truly the most game affecting. All the other ones kind of pale in comparison. You see, your mother dropped you on your head as a baby. She kissed it and then boom, the bumps faded. But ever since then, you've been slow at getting the hang of things. And this debuff is called Numbskull, and it lowers your experience gain by 50%. Now this makes skills much more tedious. I even did an experiment. I set a timer for 5 hours. And those 5 hours I was training Bernard, working on my combat, swinging probably maybe 1,000 strikes maybe. Oh, thank God I'm finally done. Level 10, 51%, 5 hours. I'm not gonna lie. That took a while. The strength took quite a while. 5 hours of just non-stop hitting was probably like 1,000 something hits. Sword is level 12, so it's up there kinda. It seems kind of progressive, but I was doing it for like 5 hours. Normal mode, I'm assuming I would have probably maxed out, maybe close to very maxed out in 5 hours. I recommend watching red pill videos while grinding to boost your testosterone though. This leads me to the next debuff. When you were too little to know any better, you fell into the well. It was hours before they heard you crying and got you out. Ever since then, you get the shakes from time to time. Now, to be honest, this debuff, which is called shakes, feels like more of a positive perk, more than anything. It's supposed to affect archery, lockpicking, and pickpocketing, but even with this, I was still able to be fairly accurate with a bow. And with lockpicking, the fact that it was shaking actually made it more easier to pick the locks. The next debuff perk is kind of annoying and can be a hassle if you don't really know the map. The description goes as follows. You've always been a restless sleeper, sometimes so much that you get up from your bed and go sleepwalking. But a somewhat good thing is you are never really too far from where you were. One bad thing is you can potentially wake up near pig shit. When you got an appetite, you'll eat anything you get your hands on. Villagers and Scallots said, you eat enough for 2. This debuff called Tapeworm causes you to get hungry faster, which to be honest, in the early game, it may seem like sort of an issue, but once you get your money up and get the Assertic perk, it doesn't become super noticeable as it once was. Only thing that's really different, you just have to buy a little bit more food than usual. All in all, hardcore mode isn't that hard, even with all negative perks. You just have to make slight adjustments. I hope this video at least encouraged you to give hardcore mode a try.